All right, so as housing prices remain high all across the country, some states are trying to figure out new ways to make the American dream of home ownership more attainable, even if it means a little downsizing, or in some cases, a lot. Idaho revising its zoning rules, for example, to allow the construction of housing on lots, where the lots start at just 1,500 square feet. For reference, the entire lot there, you could see, just about half of the area of a doubles tennis court. So are smaller houses the new frontier of affordable living, or the end of that American dream for many? Joining me now is Zach Giffen. He's the host of Tiny House Revival on YouTube. Once lived in one of these things.
So let's take a moment to talk about this, the American dream. So most people may not realize this, but people didn't always live in 2,000, 3,000, and even 4,000 square foot homes. In fact, back in the day, people lived in homes that were much smaller, probably closer to what you're seeing in this video. I think what's happening in this country right now is that people are forced to make a serious, hard look at what their values are and what the actual American dream is. Is it freedom? Is it home ownership? Is it passive income? Is it the ability to have stability in a job? All of these things are being re-examined today. That's pretty much what this channel is all about. But this whole video talking about smaller, tiny homes starting to become a new thing. What's old is new again. And I hope that when people see these opportunities to buy homes that are more affordable, that aren't as attractive as having a 2,200, 2,000 square foot home, they don't look at what the Joneses have next door and look at what will make them happy and what fits in their lives. Man, let's keep going now. Let's look at this. I'm going to see what they say.
Himself with us tonight. Zach, thanks for being here. So look, the states are starting to take this up. Idaho, for example. What's the thinking here behind this?
You know, it's different everywhere, but it's definitely the places that are experiencing the most crucial housing crisis that are the ones that are opening up. There's zoning, changing building codes to allow for tiny houses. Idaho, my guess is that it's really just about, freedom. People are coming and saying, hey, we're Idaho. We believe in freedom and I should be able to do what I want. And I think that that's another piece of it.
One of the lawmakers there said, a state senator, he said, I was very frustrated that it was called starter home subdivisions because the American dream itself of home ownership, nobody is dreaming of an 800 square foot home. And again, the lots here are 1,500 square feet. And so you see some of it there. So is it?
So again, 800 square feet does not seem like a lot. My last apartment, so I lived in 2 apartments before we moved to Las Vegas and we have the home we're in now. And if you ask me, we may have too much home. Our home is 2,200 square feet. It's for 3 people. Most of the time, it is one room isn't even used. It's the guest room. We plan to have more guests. We don't have as many guests as we thought we were going to have. And because of economic changes and because of choices we've made, we can't even fully support this house that we live in now. And I'm starting to question if we should downsize. And it's not because the economy is terrible or which, it's bad for some people, but it's because it's making me analyze, do we need this? Is this what we think we need? Or do we actually need this? Would our family, and again, I turn this question to you, would your family actually be happier if you aimed smaller, lived within your means? 800 square feet. So my first apartment in California was 1,000 square feet and felt huge when it was just me and my wife. And at that time, my daughter, who was a newborn. Then we were forced to move into a smaller place because of economic changes. And that second place was only 400 square feet. So when I look at something that's 800 square feet, I'm thinking, is that doable? Would that work for us? Would being able to pay less money on a regular basis, but then give us the freedom to do things like travel more or invest in businesses or invest in the future instead of having more square footage These are the real questions that we have to ask ourselves. Is it a place that's going to be safer, right? Is this going to be a community that we can build in, even if everyone lives in smaller starter homes? I never liked that term anyway, starter homes. What is that? Home is a home. But let's keep going.
Is this expanding on the American dream, or is this a reality for some? Maybe they don't get all the way to the end like they thought.
I mean, it's definitely not the end of the American dream. What I see it as is just really recognizing that our housing, crisis is kind of caused by having not enough homes, but also not having homes that are actually priced at the point where.
I mean, I thought this home was beautiful. These homes are extraordinarily expensive. We moved out here to Vegas, and at the time when we moved during COVID, homes were much cheaper. But even when you think about the cost of homes nowadays, what we consider much cheaper, obviously the homes have gone up in price. Was that really affordable? Should we even have been looking at the prices back then of what we were looking at? Our economic situation was much different back then. It's certainly changed, but now looking at it, should we even have been looking at the prices of homes, what was cheap at that time, or should we have been aiming much lower? I think a lot of Americans are going to have to ask themselves that question as things continue to go in the direction that we're going toward.
People can afford. And the only reason that we're really talking about it now is that it's because the middle class can't actually afford a home. And that's what is kind of turning into this national crisis. Yeah. But in terms of the American dream, no, I think the American dream is much more about being able to kind of use hard work and dedication and kind of better your circumstances. And I think what we have now is a housing crisis that traps people.
Yeah. So let me show you prices real quick. This is Idaho. Over the last, call it 6-7 years, and this is the national average. So national average right now is just shy of 400,000. Idaho, it's almost at around 600,000. So is smaller the answer?
Yo, real talk. Listen to this, and it's crazy because I just had this conversation with my sister the other day, this morning actually. These homes, how can the national average on a home be $400,000? That's also almost $500,000. That's crazy. That's crazy. Now, I know my perspective on prices may be a bit skewed. Like I told you guys in the previous video, my car note is $500 a month. And to me, I think that's too high. I think that's crazy. I wish I didn't have to pay that. And by choices I made, maybe I shouldn't have. But apparently, according to my sister, who doesn't buy new, she buys what's it called, new but previously owned. She pays, I think she said, $7 or $8 a month in her car note, and she says most of her friends pay $1,000 a month. That's blowing my mind. $1,000 a month in a car, and that's average. That's the average. So either I'm out of whack, either I'm looking at everything wrong, and my numbers are skewed because I have a biased position on how I look at economics, or everybody's doing it wrong. Do we have to have homes that are almost $500,000? Can we go smaller? I don't know. Choices, right? Let's listen.
Well, it's definitely a practical way to impact the fundamentals that drive the cost of homes. I come from carpentry, from construction. And so to me, when politicians talk about making housing cheaper, and all they ever talk about is kind of, financing solutions and then also kind of supply and demand, to me, it feels out of touch. It kind of doesn't feel like they are really aware of kind of how people feel on the ground, which is that we need something to be done about the actual cost of homes. And tiny homes is, building homes smaller is one way to do that.
Real talk. Let's pause there. There's a community near me. It's a new home build called Elysian Homes. And they build basically very, very small homes that are for like 1 or 2 people. 2 people, right? And they're beautiful. They're very small. And I'm looking at those homes. I had a serious talk with my wife going, we can't afford to live where we are now. Our home costs too much money. Mortgages is tough, right? Looking at the economic situation. Could we live in a home like that? Like, I'm not saying go extreme and go RV and van life. That's a bit much, but a tiny home, half the price, still in a good area, but a fraction of the space. Could 3 people live in that home? Could we make those tough choices? And then if we make those tough choices, what does that free us up to do with period in our lives? I don't know. That's a question that everyone's going to have to ask themselves, whether they thought about it today or thought about it before or not. I think the way things are moving forward, everybody's going to be forced to ask themselves that question and how they're going to work out economically. Because look, you go to TikTok, I can do videos like this all day on people being depressed and angry and want to get mad and scream at the corporations and scream at the jobs and scream at not making enough money. And the question I have to ask you guys is, are you making too little? Or are you making wise choices with the amount of money that you are making? Real talk. So anyway, that's it. We were near the end of this video anyway. Just wanted to get a quick one out. I'm going to try to make these a little shorter because, man, mine can go on long. Y'all know that. But like and subscribe. Tell a friend. Do you need to change the way you're looking at how you're spending your life, where you're spending your life, how you're spending your money? Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. And I'll talk to you soon. Peace.